going to read from the opening paragraphs from Bodies of Men. As he comes out of another shallow sleep, James Kelly feels the sway and lurch of the lorry and the hard shoulders of men pressing against him. In his nose is the stink of petrol engines revving. His mouth is dry, and so is his throat. There's a biting emptiness in his stomach. Back at home, he had often dreamt about the person he might be one day. Sometimes he was a tugboat captain guiding big ships out of the harbour. Other times he was a gardener at Hyde Park, clipping hedges and sweeping paths and saying hello to passers-by and their dogs. Always he was happy. Why dream of a difficult life? But over here, now, he is someone, something he could never have imagined. He opens his eyes. The sky is blood red. The desert is red too, but paler. Even though the sun has not yet risen above the horizon, it has made light like this. The lads begin to smoke their army-issue cigarettes, and James says to himself, our work has begun, hasn't it? And what work it is. His is one of two sections charged with doing reconnaissance for a squadron of tanks and Bren gun carriers, which in turn are protecting an infantry battalion that is some way behind. The Italians are said to be active in the area. But this is why I put my name down, he thinks. This is why I volunteered. The lorry stops, men slide into each other and swear. James leans over the rail and looks past the tanks to where the tracks they are following curves out of the valley. On the top of a sharp rise are two battered, unmarked lorries. Beside them, piles of crates, rolls of barbed wire, spun out and away. No one appears. There is talk in the cabin. Lieutenant Evans must be working out what to do. Just wait, he is saying. It looks abandoned, but let's give it a minute. James watches as the lead tank begins rattling up to the roadblock. Turning back around, he sees that the sun is coming up now and the men of 7th Section are powdered with grey dust. It's on their tin hats and faces and hands. They look like coal miners, not infantrymen. The second Australian lorry pulls up adjacent. It too is covered in the grey dust, and the men appear almost ghostly. One of them leans out to see what the lead tank is doing. He's wearing an officer's cap, not a tin hat. The silhouette of the grey powdered face in the hazy light. There is something about the officer, the solid, almost blocky shape, this serious expression, but the fine nose, the lips. James blinks, but there is grit in his eyes, so he scrunches his face. Then a bang and a thwack, something pierces the canvas. Now James is face down, sprawled in the sand. He must have leapt from the lorry or been thrown from it. A man groans. Another calls out for his mother. Historical fiction, I think, in essence, does two things. It does ask the what-if question. What if this element of history maybe turned out in a different way, or a different element of history? But it also enables us to go into these, perhaps the gaps in history, and ask the questions around what may have happened if these sorts of elements came together. But it's also about bringing history to life. And of course, historians do that, but what novelists do is bring that to life to a really broad readership.